सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज.
The miseries of material existence and the most hopeless conditions of life is the best possible opportunity to turn to God.
You're listening to Bare Knuckle Bhakti Shorties on the Bhakti Recovery Podcast with Jiva G, coming at you every Monday with a little spiritual something. Hey, Haribol everyone, good morning. So, I am out for my walk. You'll be hearing nature noises like frogs croaking. I don't know if you hear it. There's one. And airplanes passing, so here we are. Hi. Welcome. Happy Monday, people. Happy Monday. So much. So many thoughts. So much energy. Things are shifting. I wanted to talk today about the 12-step process. Oh, surprise, surprise. I really wanted to hit it home here because it's a lifeline. It is literally a lifeboat. And when I say that, I can't even put in the severity is a negative word, but the validity of that statement in my life. I also wanted to talk about, often when I'm speaking to others about our 12-step process, they're like, well, I quit drinking a long time ago. I'm not an alcoholic. Or I don't need it. I don't identify as an addict. And that's okay. No one has to do anything. Well, what people don't understand is that in the whole 12-step process, there's only one step that even mentions some sort of drug or alcohol or dysfunction. And it's only in the first step because you have to realize that. But we are left with the nature of that disease. And when we're left with the nature of that disease, that is our conditioning. It took me so long to understand that drugs and alcohol, dysfunctional behaviors, codependencies, anything that I shoved into that empty God-sized hole that I had was a solution, a very poor solution. The deeper lying conditioning of this human body, mind, my body and mind is conditioned. It lays the nature of that disease. And until I actually understood that statement, until I deeply understood that, I couldn't go further in my program, because what I was just an abstinent addict, full of conditioning in the wrong conditionings, full of desperate need to fill that God-sized hole with anything dysfunctional, anything that's going to take me away from Krishna, from who I am, from love, from understanding, from compassion, any of those things. And until I can completely understand that and look at the nature of my disease, the nature of my conditioning, and understand that that's where it is, I couldn't really recover. I couldn't really be Krishna conscious. I couldn't really be the person I want to be. Of course, we have to start somewhere. And when you're a beginner, the very first thing is, whatever it is that you're filling that God-sized hole with, you got to stop it. There are so many things in the program and so many experiences that I've had in my life that are contradictions, just walking contradictions. I can't stop, but I have to stop in order to recover. I can't put it down. And the only way I can explain any of this is divine intervention. I had to get myself beaten into merciless submission in order to be able to reach out and ask for help. After that, that was God's work. It wasn't mine. This is very clear to me. Once I am in that addiction, once I am in those conditionings, once I'm acting within the realms of my conditionings, there is no room for God because my ego is filling up that whole space. And in order for me to recover, the room for God has to grow. And what I've experienced till now is that when my room is God-centered, it's the best livable, most beautiful room we could possibly have. But no, I come in with my clutter and my ego and the me, and I want, and I think it should go this way, and I don't get what I deserve, and I didn't get what I wanted, and it should have gone this way with my idea of how things should be. Once that happens, my room becomes totally messy. My room becomes messy, my room becomes cluttered, and then I can't see God anymore. It's a very tricky thing. And actually, it's not tricky. It's a very simple thing. We have to learn, and that is a process. We have to learn how to navigate through that. We have to learn how to drop things that aren't serving us. We have to learn how to welcome God into our lives. Sometimes we can just read the Bhagavad Gita and be like, okay, so that's the answer. Yeah, of course it is the answer. But there's a whole process. And it's quite similar to Arjuna's process. Quite simple. And very, Arjuna's process is the same process. Is the same process of what we have to go through. I'm not comparing myself to Arjuna. I'm just saying every one of us has a surrender process, whether we want to believe it or not, whether we're aware of it or not. We all have to surrender. We all are on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Every single one of us, whether we admit it, see it, recognize it, but that's just the way it is. It's a depiction of of our conditioning here. So, that being said, how does one practice a program? How does one stay there? How does one stay in that process? How do we do that? How can we stay in that process? How can we go through all of that from surrender to being a loving, compassionate person who gives a program to others? The only way to do that is to commit to the program. We can't just drop in on a meeting and think that it's going to fix our lives. Man, we walk 10 miles and get lost in the woods, and we expect that some freaking magic helicopter is going to come down and save us. And not only that, often we're lost in the woods and we don't like the color of the helicopter, so we say, no, I don't want that one. I didn't order that one. I wanted another one. That's not how it works. We commit. I mean, if it's not for you, it's not for you. But if this is something that you want to work on, and this is a program that inspires you, if this is something that's going to help you, it's a commitment. I hate to break it to you. There's no magic wand. We can't just come. I did that for 8 years and I relapsed for 8 years until I got into the program, beat myself into submission out there on the streets, doing all kinds of nonsense. I learned the hard way. But until I was willing, as only the dying can be. Yeah, you heard it. That's the step one, the last paragraph. We become willing as only the dying can be. As soon as that happened to me, I was willing. And then God could do his magic. I didn't know back then, but that's what happened. In hindsight, I see. Sometimes we don't see the miracles when we're in them. Sometimes we don't see them until afterwards. The miracle, the gift of desperation. People, it is a high motivator. Having the gift of desperation. This is where magic happens because we finally let the hell go. It's like running out of a burning building. You're not thinking about those earrings you bought. You're not thinking about the food in the refrigerator. You're not thinking about all the details and holding on to all of your attachments. You're getting out of that building because it's burning and you're going to die. It's really black and white. And that's the position we want to be in. Some people don't need to be that way on the outside. Some people don't need those outside circumstances to understand. I'm in a burning building. I needed it. I needed my life to be unmanageable on the outside and the inside. I needed the whole package. I needed the burning 2x4 in the face. And it was a gift. It was a miracle. Addiction was a miracle for me. The whole process was a miracle for me. Thank Krishna that I was an addict, that I am an addict, that I was a using addict. Because it got me into a place of finally knowing, no. I have no self-control and no will when it comes to those things. And only God can do that, and He did that for me. So, if a 12-step program and the 12-step process through a Bhakti lens is for you, and you think you love it as much as so many people in our BRG community love it, join, let that process happen, and be active in that process. It's the only way it's going to work. It works if you work it. It sucks if you don't. People, it is Sunday. This shorty won't come out until not this coming Sunday, but the Sunday after. It'll come out in June at some point. I think like the 4th of June, 6th, 7th June, something like this. And, or even later, I don't know. But I will have, or I will be probably in the middle of doing something for the Govardhan Eco Village. There's a, if you guys are interested in that program, it's basically for the Indian community in Mumbai. I'll be doing like a introduction to the 12 steps, how it works. And today I'm doing the intro to that. It's a 1-hour session. I'm doing that in a couple of hours. I need your prayers, although it's going to be too late, but pray anyway. Be too late before you hear this, but it might not be too late before the paid version. There's a very simple, it's $11 to do a whole weekend, which is super fair. If you guys are interested in it, you can just go to Govardhan Eco Village website. I think there's links there. And perhaps, I'm not sure if there's links on my own website. I don't know. I'll find that out. Anyway, if you want what we have in the Bhakti Recovery Group, there are certain steps to take. I encourage you all to take them. Join this wonderful community of like-minded devotees who are working a 12-step program and finding happy, joyous, and free lives in Krishna consciousness, supported and held up in a strong spiritual community working the 12 steps. Man, life doesn't get better than that. Not for me, at least. So my good friends, my happy soldiers, trudging... Hi. Oop, careful. Trudging the happy road of destiny. Sorry, someone just almost fell down a huge hill into a river. Love you all. We'll talk so very soon. I think I've said everything I want. Mosquito bites everywhere. And love you all. Haribol. Thanks for listening. I hope you liked the Monday Shorties. Don't forget to check out our full-length episodes on Thursdays. If you like what you heard, spread the word. Peace out.
सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज
the miseries of material existence and the most hopeless conditions of life is the best possible opportunity to turn to God.